Well, hello everyone. For today's video, since Kings Island is of course closed for the year, and just for this year, of course, not indefinitely. I mean, it's gonna open back up at some time next year. When, who the heck knows, with the pandemic, but it should open up hopefully in the spring. But I decided to talk about my 5 favorite Kings Island related memories. Number 5 on this list is going up to Kings Island on the day that Son of Beast opened. This was back in 2000, probably April, for a season pass preview night. And my brother and my friend, our best friend when we were kids, got up there, and we had one goal in mind that night. That was ride Son of Beast. It was delayed in opening. I think the park opened like at 5, and Son of Beast didn't actually open up till like 7 or 8. We did get to ride it that night, and we were very either lucky or unlucky in retrospect, because shortly thereafter, it was like after that day, after we opened a few hours, it was closed down for another month. Just the start of many, many, many issues that the ill-fated Son of Beast had over the years, and of course it only lasted about 10, 15 years as it was. Number 4 on my list is back in 2017 when Kings Island brought back Winterfest, which they've had every year except for this year because of the whole situation going on in 2020, which is such a wonderful year. And I went with my wife, Katie. Katie and I went up. We also went through my brother and his wife. And then my most vivid memory of that time was we were on the train because they had something special on the train for Winterfest. And my nephew at that time was a year old and ended up falling asleep on my lap during the train ride. And that's just one of my most vivid memory of that Winterfest was my nephew falling asleep on my lap. Number 3 on the list was back when I was a kid. This was shortly after we got our season passes for the first time, so this is probably the fall of '97. Back then you would get an extra ticket if you would buy a pass. So my family took up some of our neighborhood friends. So like our best friend growing up and another friend, we all went up there. We were riding rides, and it was a rainy, rainy day, so it was like not. There were no lines. Everything was still open. That was just a really fun day in retrospect, especially since not long after that, since this was fall of '97, the real world went it rearing its ugly head to us, as one of our friends who was there, his father died shortly thereafter. So that was like sort of like the last hurrah of childhood for all of us, and going to Kings Island and being able to walk on and everything, and knowing at that time that we would have, at least my brother and I, would have a lot more chance to go to Kings Island because that was the first year we had season passes. Number 2 would be during the summer of '96, which is the year that Flight of Fear opened up, when my mom's sister, my aunt, and her son, and so my cousin, of course, came in town. We went to Kings Island like we would do a lot of times when they come in town. And since Flight of Fear opened up and it was a newfangled launching roller coaster, it was wanting to ride it for the first time, the new thing. So that was the first time I had ever been upside down on a ride, and that day was the first day I'd ever really ridden any of the big rides at Kings Island. That day we rode Flight of Fear, of course. I rode the Beast for the first time that day. I rode the now defunct King Cobra, which is an old stand-up coaster. I rode the Vortex, which is also now gone, for the first time that day, as well as Top Gun, and that might have been the first time I rode the Racer. I have a feeling I rode Adventure Express before that. But before that, like, it would have been times when like we would ride, I would ride the Monster or Scrambler or other flat rides, mostly when I was up there. And coincidentally, so that was just because it was being able to have so many first on roller coasters, and the fact that it was open up many bigger things as far as roller coasters for me personally, as I'm sure my brother. And it was just some good family members there, and some who we wouldn't see all that often because they lived in Arizona, with my cousin and my aunt. And coincidentally enough, at the end of the night, my cousin and his mom wanted to ride Flight of Fear again, but it broke down for a little bit, so we didn't get out of the park until like 10:45, and they closed at 10. We decided to stop at Skyline on our way home because it's Skyline, and when you're people who love Skyline but don't live in Cincinnati, you eat it a lot. And that was the same night that the Skyline we went to actually ran out of chili, which, how a chili place runs out of chili, I don't know, but it did. And my number one favorite memory involving Kings Island is probably going to P&G days as a kid, since my dad worked for P&G for many years. And in the fall, usually in September, they rent out the park for a week and have it just open for employees and their families. So I always remember going up there with my parents and my brother and sister, as well as our best friend who had a grandfather who worked for P&G for years as well. And just going up there once a year, we would always really look forward to it. And I also remember very vividly we driving up there on the express, and my dad would be driving up there. We'd always be looking out, and whoever would be to see the Eiffel Tower for the first time would win. I don't think we'd win anything just besides bragging rights, but we'd always be trying to look out for the Eiffel Tower to be the first one to see it. And those are just some good memories that I remember always very vividly looking greatly forward to that. Like I wouldn't be able to sleep the night before that, and those are some good times. Well, let me know what your favorite memories of Kings Island are, and if you like this video, as always, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe.